It's good to be back with no pressure of having to find your body and stuff. Now that you are whole, things are looking much better. And yet I still have that feeling of something being not right. Like I'm missing that something.
I don't know. Probably it's nothing very important. Oh, by the way, what's the next episode you were gonna review?
Oh Another season, another roundup of episodes, because I caught up a delay in reviewing, because what would it be if I would actually be able to keep up with my original plan of releasing episode review the following week after its release? Guess I have no choice given that season 8 is coming soon. This time I've picked 3 episodes that didn't actually left an impact on me, or either were simply boring or straight up bad. So without any further ado, let's get to the roundup.
My small pony head.
Need some help with that, Pinkie Pie?
Pig pony no need apple pony's help. Just kidding.
This episode is easily a big upgrade for Pinkie from rock solid friendship to Pinkie who is now showing the best of her. Supportive and yet also understanding and not trying to force anything. This is what I wish to see from her all the time. And some development for yaks, where we can actually see their culture and Yakistan? Consider me sold. Unfortunately, my wish was not fulfilled. I was hoping that yaks would receive some better development that would show they are not loud and obnoxious race, and they aren't. They are loud, obnoxious and dumb. Seriously, yak pride my mutant flank. Your people are gonna die here and you are saying that yaks are having pride so they won't ask for help? But when someone just come and help you are not mad and thank for it? If before I was not keen on Prince Rutherford, now he is pretty much one of my least favorite characters in MOP. Pretty much the same goes to yaks themselves. None of them were willing to speak up, even though all of them were giving clear sign of being sick of this whole yak's pride. Instead of standing up for their basic needs, they prefer to stay quiet to not go against their leader, and pretty much die either by cold or starving. This could easily be one of the worst episodes of this season if not for Pinkie. As I've mentioned, she shines in this episode. She was open-minded, willing to learn more about yaks and their culture. When the avalanche came, she respected Prince's will of not getting pony help, even though she was perfectly aware this is a mistake. She was not afraid of later confronting him and even go against him to do what's right, for which she was rewarded in the end. It is however unfortunate that the episode where Pinkie truly shines are also the episodes that are one of the weakest of this season, but more on that in another review. In general, this episode had a pretty nice premise, but unfortunately it didn't live up to the expectations. As much as Pinkie was star here, not much happened besides yaks being stubborn to the point of complete stupidity. The moral of the story is also a complete rubbish, if not even hard to get it. It's not okay to ask for help, but it's okay to help without being asked. I'm sorry, but I can't get it. Some of you may like this episode, I however am not a big fan of it. Not one of the worst, but weaker for sure.
It's okay, we've all been there, but we won't give up on helping you. We know you'll get your cutie mark. Every pony does.
Actually, I don't need your help, because I don't want to get my cutie mark.
What?
Now this is an easy candidate to be one of the worst of this season. Pretty much when I read the synopsis I knew this is not gonna be anything good. And I was right. I don't like Rumble's attitude of spoiled brat that later switched to obnoxious spoiled brat. I understand that he is uncertain about his future cutie mark and if he can end up with something he doesn't like or what would stop him from pursuing his dream of being a Wonderbolt. But that doesn't mean he can go full on boycotting cutie marks and, in a process, drag other fillers with him. He basically wants to go against pony nature, not to mention bore all of them to death. Starlight tried that with adults, but this has a potential of being even worse because planting his mindset on others might as well create insecurities in them. Another thing is, was there even in written history a pony with a wrong cutie mark or something like that? The only instance was Troubleshoes, but that was more of a misinterpretation of his mark. What I'm saying is, as much as we still don't know everything about how cutie mark works, one thing is certain. They always represent things that you are not only good at, but you are enjoying to some degree. At least till now, there was no instance of pony who really got a wrong cutie mark. But okay, he's just a kid, and it's natural for them to have such fears, so that part I could let pass. What I can't let slip is how the rest of the fillies were super easy to jump into Rumble's ideology, just because he said so. You would expect that they may be hesitant, but no, one speech, one song, and boom, blank flanks forever, even that one filly who already had her cutie mark. Come on guys, maybe at least a moment to think about it, especially when Rumble rubs in this whole "you have cutie mark, you'll be doing one thing only" in a rather obnoxious way. There are only two things that save this episode from being the worst. A, it's not Honest Apple, and B, the development for Crusaders is a saving bit. It's nice to see that after a little fiasco known as On Your Marks, the CMC are actually still continuing in helping ponies with their cutie mark problems, and they are finding a new way to do so, while still struggling here and there a bit. The fact that this is also a continuity note from Fame and Misfortune is also a nice touch to that. Unfortunately, this is not enough to make this episode at least decent in my eyes. The attitude of Rumble and other campers successfully broke this episode for me to the point I barely went through it. Okay, development for Crusaders and other fillies is fine, and the moral is also something that I can say is good. It's the annoyance that made this difficult for me. And as a last nitpick, since when Thunder Lane is a Wonderbolt?
Threw away the pie I made for your Summer Wonderbolt training session, and I know you secretly somehow got rid of all the other pies I gave you! Admit it!
That's crazy! What do you think I did? Somehow make them all disappear into thin air?
Okay, so maybe I made one of them disappear into thin air.
Yeah, that was better Party of One, or maybe Mystery in Friendship Express, or maybe Griffin to brush off. One thing is for sure, this episode was painfully boring, and why does it even exist? If anything, it would make sense to have this plot in like season 1 or 2, but not season 7, when we suddenly, out of the blue, learn that Dash doesn't like pies? Not only where did that come from, but also we saw her eating pies before, in Brotherhood Social, and now this? Not to mention this was pretty much a mix of 3 past episodes, and admit this time those are done better because Pinkie actually learned her lesson from them. However, this is fine if it would be just one episode. But when it's a triple reference, it creates a unnecessary mess of plotlines because I had some difficulty on focusing on them, even though there isn't much happening besides it. Pinkie is suspicious, tries to prove herself Dash is not eating her pies, Dash is successfully dodging it, not much beyond that. Not to mention the whole reasoning behind this conflict. I would understand if Dash would not eat pies because there is some specific and legit reason for that. But she is going for all that troubles because she doesn't like pies at all? I'm not buying that. That's just a silly reason for all those lies. This is yet another example of how lies can grow to uncontrollable size in time, as well as how much more hurtful it is when a long-running lie is suddenly revealed. Sure, if Dash would say right from the beginning she doesn't like pies, this would probably break Pinkie's heart. But now that after all those years she learned the truth, it hurts even more. Even if intentions were good, it doesn't excuse Dash's action. Not to mention all those pies that have been wasted by her. That's a serious sin. What else to say? Not much. Messy execution, bad moral, painfully boring. Yet another candidate to the title of one of the worst episodes of this season. And that concludes this roundup. 2 weak episodes, one that I don't like that much but still has some quality. As for the remaining episodes, I might still do one roundup, but most likely I'm gonna cover them separately. For some I even have some plans, but no spoilers. So, until next time, I'm Shopwit, thanks for watching.